Welcome back, man, to another great episode of Comedians in Bed, where comedians can be comedians. I don't really know what that means, but that sounds like something you should say on the
I like it.
podcast. But nah, man, I got another great guest here with us today. You already know him. This is third time on the show. He's the most frequent guest on the show. I thought about that today. That's
Oh
because he my
wow. I'm
you know what
honored,
I'm saying?
man. Let's go.
You already know who he is, man. Everybody, please give it up. No, you know I'm gonna do him a proper introduction, man. He's a very funny, talented guy. If you've seen him in Columbus, you know him as the barefoot bandit, but he's freaking hilarious and he has a deep voice like Gerald Levert, like Barry White. You already know he done called your daughter 20 times and you was like, hey, who is that?
Man.
Because I don't trust that little boy. But we got him on here today. Please, everybody, give it up for Murph Henderson, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you guys. That's the best introduction I've ever received in my life. I'm gonna just have him play that. I'm gonna have the DJ play that shit when I go on stage now.
Better than your graduation.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, for sure, for sure. I don't even remember if I went to my graduation. I was a terrible student, bro.
Did you grow up in Chicago?
So I was born in Chicago. Yeah, I grew up in Columbus, man. I'm a suburban dude, like all the way through. They got that all the way out me. Yeah. I grew up here, but yeah, my family's from the south side of Chicago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What were you like Dublin?
Now, yeah, well, no. I grew up in Worthington here.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay, okay, okay.
yeah. So like right on the line. Like before it was before there was a Lewis Center or anything. Like so, like right when that all used to be country, it was like right on the edge of Worthington is where I grew up.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Worthington's cool. I used to live up off 161 before I
I
lived
got
over
you.
here.
Yeah, I used to live over there too. I used to live over there right off Bush Boulevard. I had my first apartment.
Yeah, I did. Too.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey man, the rent was only like 6.99. I was like, I gotta take this deal. I gotta take this
Homie, it
deal.
was giving big spaces and everything. Like, yeah, it was wild. Now it was. I will say that it was lively in the evening over there. I put it like that. But I mean, but yeah, man, you couldn't beat the prices for sure.
Hey, let me ask you, man to man. I never asked nobody this. How do you protect
Yeah.
yourself being our height? Like, how do you protect yourself? Cause
I'm gonna be honest with
I
you.
be wanting to buy a gun, but then I'll be like, dog, you little. What you gonna do with a gun? Like,
I okay. One. Um, and I try to I try to say this without coming off like a try hard. Um, get you some classes, bro. Like get like take you. And I'm not talking about like don't go to taekwondo. Like you're not about to kick nobody in the head or in a fight. Don't do that. But like, but say go to jujitsu, right? Like get you some basic boxing skills. Footwork is and recognition is a big thing. Like realizing how not to get yourself into that shit. Realizing when somebody's trying to cut that angle on you before they even get to the other side of the room, I'm out. Like, nah, I'm not even I'm not even engaging in this. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, keep the toolie on you at all times. Like,
do,
yeah, like
do you jump when you're in combat?
only if I have to. Only if I have only if it's absolutely necessary.
Do you
Because
get into it? You get
because I'm
into
not
it
trying
like,
to get punched out the air. Yeah, I'm not. Nah, I remember. Listen. It's, you all the shit you see in the movies. You try to jump and hit somebody when them big niggas is gonna catch you and just carry you off like a child. Nah, I don't need that in my life at all. Nah, I be trying to talk my way out of all types of shit. If you see me in a fight with a nigga, it's because like I genuinely ran out of shit to say. Like, I don't. I couldn't say nothing to this nigga to make him stop. He just jumped on me. I tried. Nah, I ain't doing that shit. Plus, I'm old, homie. Like I got old bones. I don't have. I'm not quick like that no more. I don't have it in me to be out here just a couple niggas
I
like
be
this.
forgetting you. I be forgetting you older.
Yeah, man.
I really
Yeah,
do. You don't look 20. You don't look like you're in your 40s. You look like you're 27.
because I ain't no kid. Like that's what this shit is. Yeah. And I ain't got no girlfriend, so I ain't got nobody aging.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true. Do you ever get
how you
lonely?
do it? Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. I mean, I'm not. I don't not have a girlfriend because I'm just a player like that. I don't have a girlfriend because they keep breaking up with me. Like, it's, I be trying to have them. Like, I, I try to have a girlfriend, but they not with it. Like they get around me for a while, and they like, like I gotta keep it moving. Yeah,
That's
nah,
funny.
real shit though. Uh, I get broken up with the same time every year. Like right before Thanksgiving. Like
Dang.
whoever I'm with at the time, they just like, yeah, that's about that time, buddy.
But your gifts are affordable.
They are. Listen. They're child sizes.
Yeah.
I wear. Yeah, like you know, like you can really get me some real. Like I could get J's for like children's price. If I wore shoes in general, like I'd be out here with the wildest sneaker game.
I ain't gonna lie, I get broken up with too. The last two girls I dated with, they broke up with me.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, it may be the height.
what did they say that though?
I'm pretty sure when they left, they was like that short little nigga.
Oh yeah, when they mad, everything is wrong with you is the worst. Yeah, all the shit they thought was cute when they mad. Oh yeah, homie. Like they tell you all that type of shit. Yeah, but it's funny because like I very rarely date women that are shorter than me. And it's not
That's
like
on
I
purpose.
like try to pick tall women. What
Uh,
happened?
I'm about to say, is that on purpose?
No. I mean, it's it's just that I don't like. I'll be real. I don't remember how tall I am until somebody says something. So like, I don't. So like, I don't think of it like that. I don't think of it as the height difference at all. Like when I see a woman that I find attractive, she's just attractive. Like I don't really think like she's too tall for me. So you know, like I don't like unless somebody is like, "What you gonna do about the height difference?" I'm like, "What? Oh yeah, shit, yeah. I guess I guess I guess I should probably think about this shit."
So you at the bar like, so
Yeah, like I really like. Look, man. You missed 100% of the shots you don't take, right? You know, Amazon about to scare me off. Get out of here. Nah, man. Like I'm
I've
not
never
doing it.
been I've never been with a tall girl. I would love that experience, that thrill. I would love that.
You know what I will tell you? It's weird because once you get to a certain height as a woman, I find like because you can be a certain height as a woman where every dude is shorter than
Yeah.
you, right? Like you know, you see volleyball players, basketball players, like it's gonna be unless they date another basketball player, they're not gonna find a dude that's tall. They lonely too. I remember the first time an extra tall girl told me that she was like nobody approaches us because like they're intimidated.
Mm.
You know, like they don't. You know, because you gotta understand, like if you're not used to being short, that shit bothers you. Like I have taller comics ask me all the fucking time, like how the fuck do you have this amount of confidence at that fucking height?
You have
Like they
to.
get mad on stage,
You have to.
you know, and I'm like, it, I've been like this the whole time. Like when other comics think about that shit, they're like, it's a nightmare to them, right? Like I, I don't know what I would do if I didn't, you know, and it's, I'm like, it only matters to them when it matters to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it, so yeah, what I would say is shoot your shot at these tall girls, man. Like they lonely out here. It's lonely up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for all of them now. I'm gonna go for all of them.
Do it, Hunk. Look, look,
I'm gonna be at the basketball court at the gym. Like, what's up? What's good?
do it,
I know you need
do it.
somebody.
Listen, you know ain't nobody going to WNBA games. You should probably sit right in the front, shoot your shot,
Ah,
whisper it as she running by
that's
you.
funny.
Yeah,
I think yeah, I think that's now that you say that, I think that's why short people intimidate people because like tall people, like since you tall, like people expect you to be confident, have high self esteem, and when you don't, and then you meet somebody that's short and they do, it's like, dang, like how? You know what I'm saying? So they kind of get
yeah.
intimidated. Like I never thought of it before.
yeah, they get real strange about it, and it's like on one hand, I've heard people say like I remember I saw a post online one time saying like Kevin Hart wouldn't be as successful as he was if he was regular height, and that was like the first time I had ever seen somebody take that far where it was like, yo, that's an advantage. Being a if you're gonna be a comedian, you should be like 5'3". I've never heard nobody say that shit in my life. Like, like, and now they up here like, yo, the only reason he's getting the success is because he's a short. Like, stop it, man. Like, it
Hey
don't work
man,
like that.
what else was I gonna do? What else was I gonna do with my life?
Right, right. That's the thing. Is like when I listen, when I see extra tall people, that makes me more concerned. I'm like, when you see a dude who's 6'8", but he's slew footed, and you know he don't play ball. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You like, damn, what you gonna do? Like, you gonna sell insurance at 6'8", homie? Like, you
but
can't buy off the rack.
I have no I live life stress free. Nobody's. I think I wrote this down like as a joke. Like I have no worries because nobody's coming up and asking me like, why didn't you go to the league? Like I'm going. I don't know. Nobody's asking me that on a daily basis. Like, so I'm
Yeah,
straight. I'm good.
yeah, yeah. Nobody has ever just come up to me and asked me if I play ball randomly. Never. No.
Yeah.
Nah. And imagine having to say no all the time. Like you, you looking, you 6'9" going to your regular ass job.
and you know women forget, so they be like, "You play ball, didn't you?" No,
Right?
I didn't play ball.
Nah. Big as hell. Can't catch for shit. Oh my lord. I would hate that shit. I would much prefer this side of the spectrum. Thank you. Yeah.
Nigga, I'll be dunking on them every day. I'll be like, shoot, shoot, boom. Be like, what's up? I ain't making to the league, tall ass nigga. Different nothing.
Oh my god. You know he be disappointing the shit out of niggas when he has to show up to the court. When he has to, oh my god. As soon as this nigga walk in, everybody like, yo, that's up. Niggas that played with him before be like, nah, you don't want that nigga. Just mad. Nigga missing dunks and rebounds and shit. Yeah, dog.
Oh my gosh, bro. That's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah, I love being short, man. Yeah. I tell people now my motto is to take a real man to be a short man.
Bro, it's funny because it does force you to confront yourself earlier in life.
Oh yeah.
Right? I like it does. Like it forces you to be realistic with yourself early in life and be like, okay, what do I actually have to work with?
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And I think that's part of I mean, I think everybody's on that journey, no matter what height you are, right? It's like being realistic with yourself, being honest with yourself. But I feel like when you have what is perceived to be an impediment, then it forces you to look at yourself in a certain way. Now, I will also say, especially for any of the other short kings out there, like that shit is not a fucking impediment. Like I told you, I don't think about that shit like that at all until somebody says something. Like I don't even remember the shit. So like, what I would say is like just women love it when you're being yourself. Period.
Yeah.
At whatever size and shape you are. If this is how you are, and you're like confident in that shit, like
Yeah. It is a turn off for them. But I will say this: on dates, I do wear certain shoes.
Just see.
I'm working on a bit. I was like, man, listen, if I really like a girl, I really want her, I'm wearing Timbs. I don't care. I'm wearing Timbs. If it's like I'm questionable and I really kind of don't want to be here in the first place, then I'm wearing Air Maxes. But if I just want to smash, I'm just wearing slides. I'm just pulling up in slides. Like,
you know what? That's the thing. You listen. You always see me in the slides. And I tell you what. One, I used to rock Timbs all the time. Right? So, and I need you to know.
could just see you every day. Just come like, dog. It's 80 degrees outside. Really? I
Oh,
didn't even know.
yeah, like Tim's all the time. You got but every time I had to step down out the motherfuckers to get to
Bruh.
bed with a girl.
Oh my
Every
god,
time I had to
man.
dismount these goddamn Tims.
I'll be trying
Nah,
to.
man.
I thought about doing that on stage, like actually getting out of my shit so people could see the difference. Like it really is it really is a dip. Like
Yeah,
it's a big
yeah.
dip, bro. It's a big dip. Like no matter what shoes I'm in, it's a big dip. And I'm like, bro, what? I'm
That's
wearing
real.
Vans.
See, and that's what I'm saying. I was tired of that shit. I was tired of it. I'm like, man, listen, I want to be the height I am all the goddamn time. I want to have to explain shit later on. What the fuck? Look, you have to get into an explanation. You in the middle of kissing on some girl. Now she got questions. Nah,
But that's
nah.
actually a good point because if somebody haven't seen me in a long time and I'm wearing a certain shoe, they'll be like, "Did you get taller?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm in my 30s. I'm not growing no more." What? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not. That's not. No. See, yeah, I'm not. I'm too old to be explaining myself, man. I'm not doing that shit no more.
man, that's hilarious, man. That's funny, and that's why we had you on the show, man. Because you're freaking hilarious, man. And like I've just seen the growth, and I've seen you go from just a very long, drawn out storyteller to now you just wham, 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 wham. How did you make that transition into your comedic journey so early on?
You, brother. Like, I'm, I'm dead end. Nah, for real. Nah, because look. And for those of you who have not actually met Ty, you guys are missing out. And this is what I mean by that. One, you're a tremendous comedian, but two, you have been one of the most constructive comics that I've met. Right, and when you give me feedback, it's not just like, yo, keep working. It's like, yo, take a look at this particular aspect of your game and figure out what you can tweak about it. You were one of the first people that came up to me and was like, yo, you gotta go faster. You take it too long. You're going too slow. Like you got something, but you're going too slow. And what because of the fact that I knew that it was coming from a good place when you said it, I knew it was like for real game that you would give me. So it was like, all right, let's figure out how to do it. So each open mic, it was like, okay, how do I? Well, first I started trying to cut all the extra lines out of jokes, right? So you'll hear a lot of comics say this that you should write all of your jokes down line for line, and that helps you figure out what you don't need, right? So that's the first thing I did is you start taking out all the fat. But the second thing I did was not memorizing them or not reading from them, so that just by nature I would say the shortest version of it. And the stuff that I would forget, as long as it wasn't important for the punchline, I could just take it out. I could just leave it out. So I'll go back and listen to stuff. And when you realize like, oh, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that. But if the joke still works, now you gotta ask, do I even need that part? You know. The third thing is I started just writing shorter jokes.
Hmm.
You know, I think a lot of comics start out telling stories because that's what you draw from. And I think a lot of people who get on stage even immediately think that their stories are going to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like they try to think of the funniest story they know and tell that story.
Yeah.
Right. Where I think the real challenge is to figure out what is funny out of the the real important things in your life. Right. So like every day, I keep a diary and I write down what I hate right now, what I love right now, and what I'm fascinated by right now. Right. So it's like none of those things need to be inherently funny. Right. I'm not thinking of like what's a funny thing that I feel good about right now or a funny thing that I hate.
Mm-hmm.
It's what do you feel strongly about? Because to me, I mean, I can't say this for everybody, but to me, it's easier to write jokes about topics that I feel strongly about or that I have an emotional connection to in one way or another. So, I mean, They got shorter, luckily. But yeah, the long-winded answer about about short-winded jokes is that it was
when do you
it was you. You were the first person that told me to look at it.
when do you decipher? Okay, this joke does need to be long, and this joke needs to be short, because that's something I'm kind of dealing with now. Like I'll start like I'll yeah, that's something I'm dealing with now.
Well, I think it depends on what you're going to do with it, right? So, for example, jokes that have a lot of callbacks in them, that makes sense that it would end up being longer, right? Because you need to set up that callback in order to bring it back, right? Or, but sometimes I would say jokes end up being longer just because you tag them up a lot, right? So they might start out as short jokes and just gotten longer and longer because you tagged them up. But also, I find that telling a longer joke is kind of like a song, right? Where most of the songs we listen to, they have the same refrains, right? But they change throughout the song, and that's what keeps us interested, right? Like there's different parts of the song. That's why you have favorite parts of the song. To me, a longer joke, you should have favorite parts of the joke. So if it's going to be a longer joke, there should be parts of that joke that you can pick out and be like, that's my favorite part. Even though it might have multiple parts. One of the things that I really am grateful about, especially in this scene, is that we got a lot of mics. So when I first started, what you call taking class, I was just sitting up front at every mic, listening to every comic, right? So you start to think of it as an audience member, right? So I would say, as a comic, always continue to still be a comedy fan, be an audience member, right? Think of it as somebody who's listening to you, and if that's the case, and you're like, you'll feel where it's supposed to be longer. Now, obviously, I'm by no means an expert, but I am a long-winded ass nigga, so I know a little bit about that.
I was gonna ask you, like, off stage, like when you like with family and friends, do you talk a lot or do you not talk a lot?
I think, yeah, I do talk a lot, probably, around friends. I've always been a talkative guy around the right people. I could, especially if it's a topic that I'm interested in, like comedy. So like I can definitely talk at length about certain things, but I, I from time to time, if you don't know me, I do come off as a stone faced ass nigga. So yeah, it depends.
I had asked because I was wondering, like, with people who tell stories, like I wonder if it was a correlation because they don't talk a lot off stage. Because there's times where I can talk, but for the most part, like when I'm off stage, like unless I like know you, I really don't. Like I can go like 4 days. I can go like days without talking. Like even when I'm like by myself. Um, so yeah.
See, you know what? That's a huge difference between the two of us. Because one, I remember when I first met you, it was when Shrunken Head was still open. I first started going, and I didn't know that that was your deal. Is you come in with the headphones on, you ain't really saying nothing to nobody, right? I didn't even know you were a comic until I saw you go up. So then I see you at a couple mics, and each time, I'm giving you the customary black man head nod, but we ain't really talking. Like the fourth or fifth mic that I see you at, you walk by, you give me the nod, and then you take your AirPods out, and you're like, "Oh shit, are you a comic?" I thought you was just showing up at different mics to drink.
I
I was
really,
like,
I
like,
really did.
I was like, yeah, and then like from then on, like even then you still like like you dap me up when you see, but like you would say like it takes you a while. I realize like to figure out if you even want to say something, but also I didn't realize, especially at mics, you do want that time to just center yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, it is also a hangout environment. So like you can get drawn into being more social than being in your game,
Yeah.
right? So I understand wanting that concentration, and now, I do that shit sometimes. I show up at mics and don't say shit to nobody.
Yeah.
It's like it's not about. I'm not avoiding nobody. I just,
Yeah.
I
I
get it,
think
man.
I know I like that because I think I didn't notice until like this year. Like when I get at mics, that's I tend since I feel like since I'm in the atmosphere, even if it's like a bar, like I'm in a
Mm,
creative space, and so I just start thinking of things to do, like either for the podcast or jokes or things like that. And so that's mainly what I'm in my phone like doing, or I may just be or I may like look over a tag that I already looked over like 20 times. I'd be like, nah, I need to say
yeah,
this. You know what I'm saying? Like just working, and I think
yeah,
early on people, if they don't know you, they could take it the wrong way. And it's like, I'm so thinking about something else right now, like instead of like,
yeah,
you know, how I came across, and I think early on, like comics need to like uh realize that because it's like it's not personal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you
yeah,
just really like your head is like somewhere else. And I even have to remember that too. Like in the city, I remember that because I see everybody like all the time. But when I go out the city, I'll be
yeah,
like, oh, I don't know this person. Like I can't take how they
yeah,
greet me like personal. I don't know them. So
yeah. No, so, you know what? I learned that. I had to learn that the hard way about headliners. The first headliner that I ever opened for, I'll tell you who it is off the podcast. But uh, he's in the green room, and like I'm thinking I can just meet him because it's a small club. I'm thinking like I'm gonna just introduce myself. Hey, I'm a big fan, and dude like just completely like he doesn't even see me. Now, at the time I was tight about it, at least for like the first like 30 minutes. But then when I saw how many other comics were showing up at the club and how surrounded he was getting, I realized like when you are a headliner, when you are a recognizable comic, that's part of what you have to fight through is how many comics are going to want, or how many people in general are going to want your time. And if you're there to perform, you can't give everybody your time. You can't give everybody your attention. And sometimes you might even have to be rude about it because it's like, yo, in a second, I'm about to get bombarded. In a second, like I'm going to be surrounded. I won't be able to think. I won't be able to write anything down, get anything together. So I respected that. Like now, I'm like, okay, I'm not unless I am invited to come say something to a headliner. Unless they come up to me, like I'm not. I'm not even gonna give it a shot. I'd say,
yeah, yeah. No, I'll still be learning that in clubs too. I'll just be like, when I be like on certain shows like Don't Tell, or if I be at clubs now, I'll just be like, "Okay, I'm just gonna
yeah,
sit back and just, hey, just nod my head, just you know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
you just want to be like professional. Like I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like even though we're in a small scene, like you never know who somebody gonna be, and like those interactions,
yeah,
those first impressions, like you do have to be cautious of that. Even for me, I'd be like, okay, now I have to be more cautious because just how like I didn't know you were a comic at first. Like now, even
yeah.
now, like comics come up to me and they be saying my name, and I'd be like, bro, I have no idea who you are.
I don't know who you are.
But I just be having to be like, oh, yeah, what's up? Because I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know who this person gonna be, and you don't want to come off rude. And then now,
Yeah,
20 years from now, when you asking for work, or they done blown up, or just got their thing in motion, now they don't want to work with you because you were rude or
yeah.
unprofessional or whatever. So I try to keep
Oh
that out.
yeah, 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 yeah. I will definitely find. I definitely remember who was rude the first time I met him. But you know what? It works the other way too with with bigger comics. What I mean is, when I first started hosting, I'd have a lot of like I know who they are now, but they were well known comics that were coming to the mic, but I didn't know who they were. So when they're introducing themselves to me, I'm thinking they're just comics there to sign up for the mic, which they are, but I didn't know what the rules were for well known comics at mics in certain venues, right? So I was lucky that I didn't play any of them soft. Like I didn't, I wasn't rude to any of them at all. But it would have been really easy if nobody had pulled my coat and been like, "Hey, you know what that is?" It would have been really easy if I was feeling myself to be like, "Hey, man, like, get the back of the line, whatever." And it teaches you to your point. It teaches you be respectful to everybody, even if you don't know who they are. Things can change in a minute, especially in Columbus, man. There are a number of comics in Columbus that are doing really big things, and they're actually like they're good hangs. They're good people to be around, but not everybody, right? So it's you got to learn how to be with people to be a comic, I think.
And I think that is such the key. I think like I think you can understand this because you're a comic and you're black, but like people think just because we're a comic, we need to be friends, and it's like we're just here together. If we weren't doing
Yeah,
comedy, we wouldn't know each other. But it's
right.
like I think it just comes with a certain level of maturity. It's like, okay, this person doesn't necessarily want to get to know me like that, but as long as they're respectful and they say hey or whatever, and they go about and they
Yeah,
don't start no stuff, like that's cool. Like I think some people take offense when somebody don't want to have or is not interested in having a relationship with them, and it's nothing personal.
yeah,
It's just like maybe our personalities don't mesh or whatever. But as long as
yeah,
like I'm not gonna bash your name, I'm gonna always bring you up as long as I think you're funny or I think you'll be a good fit for the show. But like I
yeah,
think sometimes people be like pressed to be like friends, but it's like we don't have to be friends. Just like be yourself, and if you're a good comic and you're cool, like I will always bring your name up. But like
yeah.
some people be pressed. Like it's just like, okay, let's just relax. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
Take it to
I get that though. I get like not understanding the balance of that because I mean I'm still learning it, right? Like, and I
yeah.
think people always are still learning it, but there's a thick skin that you have to develop sort of in general to be a comic. There's a lot of things that you have to learn to not take personally really early. Like where you are on the list, right? Like that's a real small thing that you got to realize that it's not personal, right? I've seen people get extra mad, like like I've seen I've seen mad hosts getting pressed, like why am I always late, and like why am I always last on the list? And I'm like, bro, like not only is this not personal, but the list changes throughout the night. Like people don't show up, other people do show up. Like people go long, you know. It's you got to learn that it's a business, And what you're talking about not having to be friends with everybody, like yeah, you got to develop thick skin. Not everybody's gonna want to be friends with you, like, and that's okay. You got to understand that's not why you're here.
Yeah. The list. Oh man. People be coming up to me and be like, how you be getting up early on the list? I'll be like, bruh. I just I just ask. I put in time and I'm nice to people. Like that's all I can say.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all
But
you
no,
can do. And
I will say the real reason I'll be on the list early is because I had to I don't anymore, but back then, like when we first got back from COVID, I used to have to like go into work all the time, and I had to get up at like 4 in the morning. So I would just tell them
yeah,
like, "Hey, I got to get up early." So I think that's an I like the comics and the hosts and the producers that are adjustable, not just okay, you're a comic, you have to do it this way, and it's like
yeah,
it's okay to like bend for people like as long as they're good, they're not abusing the power that
yeah,
you're whatever favor you're giving them or whatever. But like yeah, like I only got that because I asked and I was like, hey, I got this to do, like, and I so appreciate that because I be seeing moms come and like people I know there's dudes out there that got husbands and families like they could be at the crib
yeah,
right now, you know what I'm saying? So shout
yeah,
out to those hosts that do that. That's really nice and dope.
yeah. I mean, it's. I would say that one of the things I learned from a number of hosts, like ones I can definitely name, Xavier Dunson, Ty Moore, right? They are both legit comics, but also they put the time into hosting. They put the time into maintaining the scene, right? Because there's a um, certain duty that comes with being a sort of a tent pole in a comedy scene. I'm finding, right? Because if you aren't going to take your hosting job seriously, there's a whole bunch of people that aren't going to get an opportunity tonight now, right? If you're just slacking, like if you are, moving too many people around the list, or if you're promising people things that you can't deliver, or whatever else, like now that ruins the whole scene. And I if we didn't have such good hosts on this scene, I don't think we'd have as many mics as we do because people wouldn't want to come.
Yeah. What have you learned about yourself as a comic from hosting?
Um, that I'm quicker than I thought. Like I thought I would only be able to make. I thought I would only be able to have success on stage with jokes that I had written. I was afraid of like what would happen on the fly, right? And it wasn't like I didn't think I could do it. It's just I had very little practice with it. But hosting, you're forced to do crowd work. So that I know there are some comments that are like they don't really do crowd work. Like when I host, you have to, and it makes you at ease with the audience a lot more. And I think it also taught me to read an audience a little bit more. It changed the way that I approach shows. Like I show up earlier for shows now, just so I can be in the audience and just sort of feel what's going on, right? And if it's a small enough venue, it even gives me a chance to meet the people, so that I can have that sort of familiar approach to being on stage.
Hmm. Yeah, I like to do that too. Um, get a vibe for it. Um,
Yeah,
I use my headphones be in, but I just turn it because I be have my music going, but I turn it low enough that I can at least hear if they're laughing or not, and I'll pay attention to who's laughing, and then that's what I'm usually like. All right, this is what I'm going to say when I go up there. I'm going to talk about her or this or
yeah,
situation that just happened, or if the comment that was before me, if they say something funny, then I'll piggyback off them, or if I know I'm good enough, then I'll make
right.
a joke about that comment,
Yeah.
which I like doing. I did that with Alex. Was you there that night?
Which Alex Dutton?
Uh, Alex in a Hangwa. I think is that how you say
Oh,
it?
Alex and Yamahanga.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love Alex.
Yeah, man. That's my guy. Yeah. Um what has like you see the growth from comics when you host. Are you going to take that next step now into like have like your own show now? Because you do get to see people and you could be like, oh, I like this one, I like what you're doing with this one, like blah blah blah. Or do you just be sitting back and you just get your reps in?
Nah, I would love to take the next step and produce my own show. I will tell you that I am wildly disorganized and unreliable. So that's why I haven't done it yet. Is because I didn't want to put anybody in a spot where I let them down. But to your point, yes, I have had. I've heard a number of comics really develop just coming to my mic. Alex is one of them, right? And I would say this to Alex when I first met Alex, I didn't even understand what the fuck he was saying, like let alone whether or not the shit was funny, right? But I've seen him come back enough now where he tells a joke that I know he worked on, like, and he gets a laugh, like I know he meant to do that, like he got that laugh on purpose. And when you see comics get better and better, yeah, you do want to support them. You do want to give them opportunities. You do want to put together a showcase or venue to showcase them. So yeah, I think probably this coming year, I'll probably take the plunge. I know I need a producing partner to keep me on top of things. I'll reach out to like one of the very talented producers we have in the scene and see if maybe they can give me a hand.
Yeah, I think that'll be dope. I think that'll be sweet. Sure. You about to say, yeah, you and Xavier are like the only two black hosts that we. Well, no, there's other more. The Hood Comics, my fault. So there's
Yeah,
more. I'll be
yeah.
forgetting. I'll be
Speaking of
forgetting.
which,
But there's several black hosts. How I never thought about asking like this. Since you are black, but the area that you in is kind of white. Well, it ain't kind of white. It's all the way white. Has that been a challenge for
that's what
you?
makes it safe, Ty.
Has that been a challenge for you?
um, you mean like doing comedy in those spaces?
Yeah.
Um, no, and I'll tell you why. I don't write jokes for a particular audience of people, so I'm not. I think probably you and I have discussed this just like in regular conversation. Like I'm naturally a nervous dude in general, right? I naturally have pretty high anxiety. I naturally feel like people are always looking at me. So if I get up on stage in front of a bunch of white people, I thought they were staring at me before I got on stage. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like when I'm up there, I'm not concerned about what they're going to think. I'm relieved that my paranoias are true. You know, so like, like I'm, you know, so I just that type of thing doesn't bother me, and it also doesn't bother me to be in hood rooms, right? Like I don't black it up when I do shows in the hood. You know, I don't feel like I need to adjust the way that I am. As a matter of fact, when I do hood shows, I usually play up the Murph voice a little bit more, and I tell all my jokes like a newscaster, just to just to see what they do.
I freak. I'll be super nervous on stage. I don't. I'm rarely comfortable on there. Up there,
Really,
I just look comfortable.
you really do.
I've anxiety through the wall.
That's wild.
Especially if I'm not looking at nobody. I'm just looking at all. Yeah, yeah. It's rare that
I
I
would
go up
never
there
guess
and I'm.
that.
Yeah, it's definitely rare that I go up there and I'm calm. Nah, I'm nervous through pretty much throughout the whole thing. Like,
But see, that's because you're cool in real life. That's why. Like
yeah.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm not cool in real life at all. Like I gotta understand why it would make you nervous because you. But I will also say like one, nobody could tell that you're nervous, so you're definitely pulling it off. But two, you know, you you're a lot more. I'm sure when you watch your own recordings, you're a lot more natural than probably you think you're being in the moment, right? Like I would imagine when you watch stuff back and you feel like, oh, you know, I was really nervous when I was telling this one. When you watch yourself, does it look nervous to you?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Really? Oh, you can tell. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, that's why that. I mean, I just put it out because I'll be like, fuck it. I don't ain't like I got a million followers, so I'll be like, just put it out. I don't
Yeah.
care. But yeah, I'll be looking at this and I'll be like, dang, they gonna be able to tell that I was nervous right there. Because, but I just put it out. I mean, you know, I figure eventually I get to the point where I'm not nervous and they'll be able to see the growth and recognize it. If not, at least I will. So. But yeah, I'd
Yeah.
definitely be nervous. Or I'd be like, maybe I wasn't loud enough. That's the next question I was gonna ask you. Like, with you having a deep voice, I have a deep voice and I kind of talk fast. And then when I be up there and I'll be nervous, I'll be like, I start stuttering and stuff and stumble over words and all that bull crap. And I'll be like freaked
I
and
don't
my
think I've ever
anxiety's
seen you
going
move.
up because I'm like, dang, now people notice I stumbled over this word and now this joke is messed up. They're not gonna laugh how I want them to laugh. Like it's a whole problem. Like, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
well, what I was asking you, what I wanted to ask you was like, do you pay attention to your voice, like how you're up there, like the tone of it? Because sometimes I think people can't understand like literally what I'm saying. It just sounds like mumble because my voice is so deep.
Yeah. So part of it is like it definitely gonna depend on the sound system, right? Because like when I'm up there, like yeah, my voice is deep, but it's also like naturally loud. So I'm always thinking that I'm louder than I'm supposed to be anyway. So sometimes I get confused about whether or not like if I'm talking into the mic, like if I talk regular, can they hear it, or do I have to like project? And then if you
Mhm.
project, it's too loud. Now they're out of the joke also. So and it's funny you should say that. I grew up with a stutter. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I definitely had one. Right, and I used to talk very fast also.
Yeah.
Right, so being up on stage and being conscious of your tone is partly why I ended up talking so slow at first because I was concentrated on the delivery so that I didn't stumble over everything, right? And it just forced me to talk slower. But once I got more confident on stage, it was like, okay, I can speed up to my natural cadence. But I will say, yeah, it, one, if I'm in a small enough venue, I just ask, y'all hear me, right? But if it's one of those things where I'm worried about whether or not I'm I'm loud enough. I usually just talk at a low enough tone until somebody tells me to like just talk louder.
Yeah, I think what be messing me up is because it's because like when I be going to church, I be hearing pastors be like, "Turn my monitors up," and I'll be like, "I
Mm,
don't. Why are they saying this? That's kind of annoying. Stop." But now that I'm up there, I get it because like if I can't hear myself, I don't feel
yeah,
loud.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because you can hear me, but I can't. It sounds like I'm not saying anything. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that'd be really throw me off. Like if the monitors on the stage that are facing us are not on or
yeah,
loud enough, it makes me feel like nobody can hear me.
yeah. No, that definitely, especially with comedians, because some comics are just not loud, right?
Yeah.
They're just some comics, their delivery, and not only that, but your style to me benefits from a laid back delivery, right? If you were more animated or higher pitched, a lot of the stuff you say might not work the same way,
Yeah.
you know. So like knowing, I mean, yeah, you can have a preference. Okay, yeah, I want to deliver it like this, but you can get put out of your game by having to, yeah, like if you're a comic, like I don't know what you would do if there were no mics. I remember I had to do a couple joints with no mics, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm loud because I, I don't know. I don't know what time would do up here.
Man, that's how I felt last night at fours. I was like, bro, this volume is low. Um,
Oh yeah, Ford is yeah. That's happened to me a couple times
yeah, but no, I'm liking it though because it's. I mean, the mic style like that. It's stuff you didn't really think you would have to think about as a comic. Like, am I loud enough? Can they
there.
understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's. I love it though. I love it. How long have you been at it now? Like a year and a half?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just hitting my year and a half right now.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What have you learned about yourself since doing comedy? I know I asked you since doing the host, but like from when you started to
Nah,
like where you are now.
yeah, it's a different question for sure. I've learned one, you gotta kill your darlings. Like you might have a joke that you're like, oh, this is gonna kill him, and if a joke doesn't work, sometimes you just gotta accept that it doesn't work, or it just doesn't work right now, and you gotta give it up. You gotta take it off the set list. You gotta just be like, all right, I'm not. It learns you to it teaches you to let go of your ego a little bit. That's one of the things I've learned. I've also learned to be a lot more disciplined because I wasn't setting aside writing time or writing requirements for myself, right? And I don't, not everybody can do that or should do that, right? But one of the things I learned is that since I'm not naturally like that, I have to discipline myself. Otherwise, like I'm not gonna write new jokes. You know. And then I think probably I learned that I'm the least nervous when I'm on stage. Like that's when I feel the most comfortable. That's when we were talking about it earlier. Like I'm not cool off stage. Like I'm just not. But once I step on there, like I realize that's actually like it's like a safe place for me. You know, whether people think I'm good at it or not, it's not the laughs that make me feel comfortable. It's just the being up there.
Forgive me if I haven't seen it, but will you ever do comedy with shoes on?
I I have I have a couple of times. I do prefer not to. Absolutely. If I get asked to put shoes on, like sometimes I go to certain clubs and they're like, "All right, come on, yeah, put your shoes on." But also, what I do when they tell me that is I go up there with shoes on, but I'll take them off when I'm up there, and then just put them back on to walk back down.
that's, that's funny. That is hilarious. As we start to wrap this thing up here, man, who I don't think how about yeah, I've asked you who's on your Mount Comedy or Rushmore. So never mind.
What?
I'll actually what's your favorite comedy special? That's something I don't ask nobody. I've never asked somebody that. What's your favorite comedy special?
Dave Chappelle killing himself. Uh, Followed very controversially by Bill Cosby himself. Before before Bill was the goddamn worst, I saw him do the whole special sitting down, and like I'd never seen anybody do that before. I'd never seen somebody just hold the whole crowd and never even get out of his seat. I mean, you know, a couple times, but like that and Dave Chappelle killing him softly like that. Because I've been watching Dave Chappelle for a long time. Like, and it's funny because we were talking about voices. That was when Dave Chappelle's voice started to change. Because if you watch him earlier, like in Just for Laughs days, like in the '90s, he had a much higher voice. He talked a lot faster, right? But after years, Killing Him Softly was when you first started to hear that sort of raspiness come into his voice, and his delivery changed, and his jokes were even different, right? Like he wasn't. I mean, he was a different comic, not like completely a different person, but like he had sort of developed into his own. And I really like when I see a a special where you can see somebody at like the pinnacle of their craft. Like this is their exact flavor, and like you can see when they found it. To me, that's what Killing Them Softly is.
What's any words of encouragement that you can give to a comedian that's listening to this right now?
Um, I would say first thing is you are own. You know what? This is the best advice somebody gave me. There's a comic and a very talented filmmaker and photographer on the scene named Jason Cokes. Goes by Jay Cokes. And one of the first things he ever told me at a mic was, "You don't come to open mics to be funny. You go to open mics to get funny." So I would say all of the comics that are first starting, or if they need, you know, a little bit of encouragement, the not being funny is the work. The getting all the bad jokes out of your system is the work, right? You got to go back and see why this joke didn't work. You got to be honest with yourself about why the joke didn't work. And I've seen plenty of comics, and I'm sure you have too, that when they first started, I didn't think they were funny, but now, you know, I laugh out loud at a lot of the stuff they say. And it's because they took the time to do it. And if you take the time to do it, you can find your own style. You can find your own flavor. You know.
Message.
Murph, tell people why they should listen to comedians in bed.
One, because Ty Erskine is one of the best hosts doing it right now. For real. I've been on your podcast 3 different times. This is my third time. Like I have a blast every time.
What?
Also, really insightful comedians on your podcast. You've had a bunch of people that I was really surprised to see, right? And a lot of it, you know, some of it are comedy journeymen. A lot of it, like you're giving out free game about comedy, right? You are really getting into the nitty gritty of how it works and the minutia of what it's like to be a comic. And there's very few places that you can get that anywhere else.
My nigga used the word minutia.
I'm sorry,
We
my,
getting
my, my private school
fancy.
came out a little bit. I apologize.
We getting fancy. It's like, what? I'm gonna drop this word on you, bitch. Boom, minutia. I like dropping big words on hood girls because they have no idea what you're talking about. Like they have no idea, and they're just so mesmerized. They're just so mesmerized. I love it. That's how I be. My game be mental. Like I mess with your head. That's how I get.
Yeah.
That's how I get girls. I get girls with my vocabulary. Like,
You walking up to girl whispering in their ear, mammalian.
and that's what happens when you're short. You got to find other ways to get it done.
Yo, that's real. That's really real. Yeah.
Murph, tell people where they can find you at.
So I'm on social at Henderson Murph. That's all my socials, Henderson Murph. You can find me on Instagram. I'm going to be hosting every Thursday night. As a matter of fact, tonight I'm hosting. It's going to be at the Saber Pint Comedy Open Mic. I'm also doing a show on New Year's Eve. And I'm going to be putting that the flyer and all of the information to contact the tickets on my social as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a good end of the month.
If you want to catch next week's episode, be sure to Catch our live episode every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel at TYE Comedy. But if you want to see weekly clips of this episode, you can also follow us on Instagram at Comedians in Bed Podcast. Be sure to listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can, I don't throw out my social. My mom told me not to do that, so I don't do that. Want to thank my man once again, Murph, for coming on to the show today, man. Murph,
Thank you, brother.
greatly appreciate it, man. We'll